First item up for business, if there are participants online, if you would like to speak on Teams there, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand under the reaction tab. If you've got any questions, let us know. But that's how we'll I've got somebody monitoring that. That's how we'll know if you've got folks online that have any questions. As we begin, welcome. First, I'll call this meeting to order. Next, I would ask that as we can, if we would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item up for business would be to approve the meeting minutes dated March 24th, 2026.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments on the previous meeting's minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, I would seek a motion to approve today's agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'll approve the agenda with the exception of pulling item 17 from the agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second with pulling item 17 off the agenda. Any questions or comments on that?
Your plan is just to open this back up to bid in the next few weeks, and we should have information on the next steps of that going forward.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Motion carries. Item 5 would be to approve today's consent agenda.
Moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. The motion carries. Item number 6, recognize and celebrate some of our employees for their incredible contributions and loyalty. I think I said this last month, one of my favorite parts, especially when I see the longevity that we have, and you'll see a little bit of that here. I appreciate all the employees that we have and the contributions that they make to the county, to improving all of our lives and the work that they do. So first off, Karen Hansen, Conservation Department, 33 years of service. Luke Fleener in the Sheriff's Office, 31 years of service. Jen Sumter, Health Department, 19 years of service. Timothy Vanoni, probably said that wrong. Oh, good. Secondary Roads, 18 years of service. James Stamberg, Conservation Department, 14 years of service. Alex Wininger, Deputy Sheriff, 10 years of service. Curtis Davis, Secondary Roads, 9 years of service. Lisa Daggett, Recorder's Office, 7 years of service. Kendra Freeth, Health Department, 7 years of service. Katie Boland, Assessor's Office, 6 years of service. Joseph Shearborn, Conservation Department, 6 years of service. Gary Vogt, Secondary Roads, 3 years of service. Harmon Atwood, Deputy Sheriff, 3 years of service. Barb Garrettson, Conservation Department, 2 years of service. Elise Willis, Communications Center, 2 years of service. Terrence Henson, Jail, 1 year of service. Mark Miller, Jail, 1 year of service. And Matthew Nansen, Health Department, 1 year of service. So I just want to say thank you to all those and their anniversaries with our with their respective departments there for the contributions they've made and the work they've done for Webster County. So I thank them all. Item 7, Linda Klein with the Iowa State Extension would like to give an update to the Board of Supervisors.
Good morning, everybody and guests. And so I'm Linda Klein, and been with Extension probably for about 30 years now. And so I'm the program coordinator. I brought Kristen Klemp. She's our 4-H program coordinator. And just an update that we are still around. We're located like a block down the street in the Wells Fargo building. Can any of you guys tell me what Extension does for the county supervisors? Or how do we impact the lives of your constituents? Nathan.
Oh.
Go all the way until who I was going to pick on.
Well, you guys have a lot of training opportunities, like you just said, the babysitting deal. And I know I've been to your guys' lawn care class with the guy from Iowa State. So,
okay, so we help give licensings to like people who put on chemicals. So that way the other folks in our region don't get cancer or whatever and with the water. And we also help with the farmers with their licensure and train them. Austin, what else do we help you with?
I like the training opportunities personally. I get
Okay.
all the emails. I just know from a constituent standpoint, when I look at, there's a lot of free or low cost opportunities to go learn. Learn different ideas. I've looked at some of the gardening ones. I'd love
Okay.
to do the honey, the bees.
Okay, yep,
After child number 6, that's kind of been my back burner. So
yep. So we just
but
got done with a bee workshop that we
Yep.
had 30 participants for. And I bet you look at that ag decision maker
Yep.
when you have to figure out what the rent is for the
Yeah.
county farms and such. So that way you know what Iowa State and what the leasing value is on those. Mr. Cochran, do you know what we use extension for maybe?
I'm gonna be honest, with you primarily, I just knew you guys were able to get certification in other areas.
and
I
good
don't know if
resources.
anything beyond
Yep.
what has already been said, and I will own up to that.
Every time we go out to a restaurant, somebody in that restaurant has to be Serve Safe trained, meaning that maybe they went through Holly's certification of 6 hours and passing the test to make sure that when you go in that restaurant, you're not going to come out of there sick, and that they are handling the food with proper care and whatever. She just had a workshop and 20 people came to that and they continue to do that. Yes, sir. You're waiting.
You're giving
I
me
know.
character.
I know.
Nothing, I think I'm back.
You all knew what you saw my name on the agenda.
Okay. Well, obviously 4-H.
Right.
My daughter was in that for a time with some of her friends, and it was a great opportunity to meet and learn about all the great things 4-H does. I especially loved at the fair, when they do little art projects,
Yep.
little scientifically themed projects.
Yep.
That's just a great opportunity to help our children become intelligent and potentially, hopefully, useful members, less than being just great kids, but being very useful in learning tasks.
So being it's this extension week this week, extension does community economic development. We had a grant workshop and there's a new data website that I put in your red folder that you can go to that to get different stats that you might need for grants or these nice folks can get for grants and stuff. And we have the ag and natural resources, which covers tree pruning to the farmers to youth programs and stuff. So we have a donation garden that is right behind the old fairway down there where in your packet 2 says how many pounds that those master gardeners worked and volunteered. And we're just started a journey through Parkinson class. When I went to that class last night, there was 9 participants there. Probably 7 of them have been diagnosed within the last 9 months. Now that's really scary, and those folks are in this county or nearby. And so for whatever reason, they're getting Parkinson's or been decades and they can't prove how they're getting it, but there's different things. And so we're funded from federal, state, and county levels. And so if everybody looks in the back of their taxes, we do take a certain percentage out to pay for that. But we have a 9-member extension council that governs that body and is HR for us. Kristen, do you have a couple words?
Yeah. So you pretty much said my job though.
I don't think I spoke very well, but
It's okay. 4-H, we actually have grown this year. We have 284 members this year. So we grew a little bit. Our Clover Kids has grown this year. We had 60 Clover Kids. So we had 3 groups, 2 in Fort Dodge, and we had 1 in Gowrie. So that's great because hopefully our Clover Kids turn into 4-H members. I guess 4-H just offers educational experiences on the Iowa State campus. Like we have youth conference in June, which is for 8th grade through 12th. They all get to come and learn what it's like living on campus for a couple days, which is really fun. And they get to kind of attend classes, things they're interested in, like photography. That was one of the ones I went to. I'm trying to think what else, like just different things I can use, I guess. We have STEM, we do communication, leadership, many other skills. And they say kids that are in 4-H, they will be ready to pursue higher education and careers and become the next Iowa's next generation of leaders. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about 4-H, I can answer. Anybody? Okay, I'll let Linda
So
finish.
we thank you and just know that resources down the street or go to our website or Iowa State's website, and there's a wealth of opportunity of information there. So I'll give you red packets after everybody else talks, so you're not looking through them before that. So thank you.
No, I thank you. And there is a lot. I go to I like the website. I've looked up a lot of different opportunities and trying to understand. I like to learn. And there's just a lot out there that I don't think people see all the time. And so I really encourage anybody to go look at the website. There's lots of learning opportunities. Just to me, it's just mind engagement too. I'm always trying to, with the farming side of it, trying to learn new things about how others might be doing and how it's working. I do use I lost the word now, for the calculating rent.
Oh, right, leasing.
Yeah. Yep. That's always been it. I always look at that every year, and especially when I'm looking at leases, whether it's with college or, the other ones that we have, weighing it off of that. And so there is a lot of opportunity, and I really appreciate the work you guys put into that.
Based information coming from the university. So thank you much. Yep.
Thank you.
I just want to say thanks too. I grew up in 4-H, and it does a lot for kids and prepares them for the next generation of their careers and leadership. And so just appreciate all you guys do. And like Austin said, the depths of what you guys do too, people don't know, but it's greatly appreciated. So thank you.
All right. Item number 8, approve and authorize to pay McClure for professional services on the Webster County CN and UPRR rail spur, $2,885.00.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments on item 8? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 9, approve and authorize MIS director to sign agreement with Ninja One and Webster County.
I'll move item 9.
Second.
Motion and a second. You state your name and your department.
Morning, Andrew McGill. I'm the IT director for Webster County. So we have been what we call a managed engine shop for many, many years. And we had the opportunity to look at a different product. And so we looked at Ninja One, and it allows us to do basically the same things that managed engine's doing for us for less cost. It is ticketing and RMM, remote monitoring and management, and also patch management all in one. And so this year alone, we'll be saving about $3,000 off of this year's bill for managed engine. Then next year we'll be closer to around 12 to 13,000 that we'll be saving. So, so a lot of the other counties have been going to this too, and we've looked at it. We've been doing a trial run on it for the last 30 plus days. You probably saw an email go out from Joe that we will be switching things around a little bit. So this is what I'm presenting to you. This is what I originally sent to you, Darren, was a 16-month, I think, and 1-year option. And this one here actually is a 30-month option. We got a better deal because it ran out before we had a chance to get it signed in March. So we was able to get a 30-month option with 6 months free. So that's what I'm presenting to you today.
You know how many other counties use this software?
Yes. Quite a few different counties are switching to it. Greene County is one of them. Carroll County uses it. Woodbury County is switching to it too. The fact is theirs, I think, is being approved today too, actually. I think Blackhawk County is going to switch over to it too. And all these counties were managed engine products. Most of them are already using managed engine, but costs just keep going up. And if you can find something to do the same thing pretty much for a lot less money, that's what we got to do in order to save money to the constituents. So this is what I'm recommending. And got any questions?
At the 6 months free then for the 30-month term?
Yeah. So our actual first invoice won't be till November. So, and it's done on yearly. This also will take the maintenance into it too. I know we're having a meeting about that coming up here. but the maintenance will be, ticketing system will be into this system also.
We're not losing any functionality that we had previously, right? It's
No. A lot of these new programs, with Manage Engine, we had a lot of canned port reports and a lot of that kind of stuff. The newer systems, they run a lot on, they call APIs. So you attach to them and you can use Excel or whatever you want to get the information you want from it. And you can write your own reports and stuff. So we're not really losing any functionality. Problem is when you have canned reports, you're stuck with what that they present. And this here allows us to be a little more, we can set it however we want, present the data however we want. So
you said to save how much a year after?
this year will be around 3,000 because the fiscal year ends in June, and Endpoint Central is up for renewal this month. And then the ticketing system, Service Desk Plus, is up for renewal in November. So when that one comes along, that's another additional around 10 grand. So total would be roughly around 13. It's a pretty substantial amount of money to save. So, and we're looking at other opportunities to see if we can condense some other things too in our department too. But this is a start. So
Appreciate that.
yep. Any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right. Have a motion and a second. So all those in favor of item 9, please say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Motion carries. Next would be to receive and place on file fiscal year 24 Central Iowa Juvenile Detention Center audit report. A copy is in the auditor's office.
I'll move item 10.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Motion carries. Item 11, approve change order number 2 from Empire Excavation in the amount of $20,188.25 for the Meyer Marsh Wetland and Oxbow Restoration Project per recommendation of Matt Cosgrove, Conservation Director.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Morning, everyone. Matt Cosgrove, Conservation Director. This is a continuation of the project that we're working on with IDOL's water quality project at Meyer Marsh. Was scheduled to be concluded last October, but obviously with the wet conditions, the project continues on. And that's the main reason for the change order number 2 here is for the additional rock and the geogrid just because of the wet conditions. So these have all been approved by IDOL's. This project is 100% cost shared with IDOL's. So they've already approved these increases. And we're just hoping to wrap the project up. We were planning the final walkthrough on Friday of this week, but obviously with the significant rainfall we saw this last weekend, that's probably going to be pushed back a little bit. So that contractor hopefully will be wrapping up in the next couple of weeks. We will have an additional agreement with IDOL's for the new amount on your next agenda, and it'll also have an increase from Bolton and Mink, the consultant that's doing the construction engineering and observation of the project. So hopefully here by the end of the month, we'll have this one wrapped up and then have everything reimbursed and taken care of by the end of the fiscal year.
Any other questions or comments? Appreciate all the work you've done getting this in. We look at all the issues we have with water, if you will. It's nice seeing water quality and water initiatives like this happening. So it's great to see.
Yeah, and we'll be highlighting this project a little bit more when it finally does wrap up. We've been doing a lot of drone video throughout the whole project. So once the wetlands are full, which they are now, we'll be updating, and then our staff will be taking care of the seeding here in the next couple months. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 12 would be to approve special assessment for 2110 South 12th Street, Fort Dodge, Iowa, 50501.
Item 12.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 13, receive and place on file the private sewage disposal system registered contractors for the 2026 installation year, as they have met the requirements set forth in Webster County Ordinance 2023-03, to install private sewage disposal systems. Copies on file in the P&Z office.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments on item 13? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 14, public hearing, third consideration, amendment to the Webster County Ordinance 2023-03, an ordinance providing the construction/installation standards of private sewage disposal systems and requirements of the contractor/installer, issuance of private sewage disposal system permits, private water well testing, and the transferring of properties. I will open up the public hearing at 10:20. Did we get any public comments?
So Allison Pugh, Webster County Environmental Health Officer. So the only comments that I got on this between the first reading and now have been from some of our contractors here in Webster County and some environmental health field professionals that suggested just a little bit of language changing in section 3.6. I can't read that from here, but I think it's the alternative wastewater treatment systems. Just for clarification on it, it reads now, whereas any private sewage disposal system which requires a maintenance agreement in which effluent is openly discharged to a dredge ditch, stream, creek, river, pond, tile, or any body of water will require the UV wastewater treatment light. Basically, the reason for that is we do have some treatment systems that openly discharge, but they're miles away from a water source, and the UV light is pretty expensive. So to put it in something where it's not going to reach a water source, that kind of a moot point. But those were the only things that for comments that I got.
Questions or comments? Hearing none. I will close this public hearing at 10:22. I just noticed that I feel like we should have a vote there after that.
Motion for approval. Yeah, I mean, you've had your public hearing, so motion to approve with the proposed amendments. I'd call for that.
I would call for a motion to approve the amendments as stated with the additions stated today from Ms. Pugh.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? Be a roll call vote.
Cochran, aye.
Montgomery, aye.
Guy, let it be known that there is a unanimous consent. Item 15, a public hearing, third consideration, ordinance number 2026-1. Title 5? Oh, I almost said 10. Public Order, Safety and Health, Chapter 7, Animal Control and Welfare, zoning designations R1, R2, and R3. We'll open up this public hearing at 10:23. We have any public comments on, or any submitted comments on the proposed ordinance?
I just want to make clear, I had a couple people reach out to me over the past couple weeks since the first hearing on this, asking if this is for incorporated areas, and just to reiterate, it's not. It's just for the residential areas in the county. So the more populated rural areas in the county. So nothing incorporated.
Else? All right. Hearing none, I will close the. Okay. All right, Justin.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to comment on the animal control proposal, and I'm not sure where you guys are at because I'm actually on the road right now. So I guess I'm just going to go ahead and say my part. That way, if I get lost somewhere here, you guys will still hear what I had to say about this. I know you're looking at the animal control policy and what should be potentially a contract.
So right now we're listening to comments on our proposed ordinance for the animal control. So it'd be the animals at large for our residentially zoned areas.
And so this part isn't to do with the actual animal control officer contract.
No,
That next sentence.
no, that was removed. So we'll be reviewing kind of what our needs are and proposals going forward later, but that's been removed right now.
If you want to make a comment, though, you can talk on the citizens' opportunity to address the board, which will be coming up here shortly.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, anybody else with comments or questions on the proposed ordinance? All right, hearing none, I will close the public hearing at 10:26. Item 16 would be to approve the third consideration of the ordinance number 2026-1, Title 5, Public Order, Safety and Health, Chapter 7, Animal Control and Welfare, zoning designations R1, R2, and R3. This would be a roll call vote.
Item 16.
Second.
Second, any other questions or comments before the vote?
I would just comment that I've appreciated the kind of thoughtful approach to doing this because out in the county, there's there's different types of properties out in the county. There's some that look more like the city and maybe qualify or should qualify for a higher level of regulation in terms of animal control. And then there's some folks that are pure agriculture that maybe aren't so interested in having those sorts of additional regulations. So I think actually this is somewhat unique. I think I don't think there's another one in the state of Iowa that quite came up with this solution, that things that are zoned to be residential, where we're having neighbors right next door to each other rather than a neighbor every, half mile, quarter mile. I just think that this was a good resolution after a lot of the concerns from various parties who thought not enough control, don't want that much control. I think this was a good compromise, and I'm hoping that it will be a useful tool in dealing with, at least in these residential areas in the county, more consistently the way a city would handle it.
Appreciate you and Jeff working together, on making that work.
Yeah, and I thought it went, to your point, I mean, I thought there was a lot of, to me, that's where it made the most sense, because I live on our family farm and I have chickens and ducks, and I have dogs that are at large helping keep my chickens and ducks corralled and out of the coyotes' mouths, and they've been very helpful. So yeah, so it's very unique, and I do think that we found a good way to kind of, marry those two things, to the two, evaluate the needs and, come up with an ordinance that fits the real needs that we have.
Yeah, and hopefully, works as intended. And sometimes we need to fine tune things, and we have that ability going forward. But I think at least it appears to be a good framework, I think, going forward.
Yeah, I think it helps give us, that's one of the complaints that I'd heard a lot of, that we really needed more in those residential areas where it's unincorporated. It is the county, but it's just like living in town. And they wanted some more control with that. And I can very much understand that. So yeah, I think we came to a very good compromise on this. All right. Anybody else? Hearing none, this would be a roll call vote.
Cochran, aye.
Montgomery, aye.
Like let it be known that all of the words are gone. Unanimous consent for this agenda item. Sorry. Next would be the citizens' opportunity to address the board with items not on the agenda. Yeah. Hi.
Brady. I live in Coville, and I just want to talk to you guys today about a dog that passed away at the beginning of March. His name was Atlas, and he was my neighbor. I called animal control. Well, I called the LAC on February 18th and talked to the communication center along with multiple other people. So on February 19th, an animal control officer came out and saw Atlas, and she said that he was really thin. And at one point, she said that she would go ahead and contact the head of animal control. And she left and pretty much never came back. At one point, multiple animal control officers were aware of what had happened and nothing happened. No contact was made with the owners. Nobody stayed. No one ensured that Atlas was safe. Nothing ever happened. Follow-up visits were claimed for the 20th and then again on the 27th, which was 7 days later, but nobody came back to the house. I live next door. Nobody came back. Nobody came back to look at him. He was there for 7 days. We had a snowstorm and he laid there and froze to death. 3 animal control officers knew. I was talking to one personally every day. I sent over 55 text messages. Nobody came back to check on him. On March 1st, my neighbor found him dead after I had talked to somebody every single day to see if they were coming to look at him. Atlas was found starved and frozen in his doghouse. The doghouse was facing north. There was no floor in the doghouse. There was no bedding in the doghouse. There was no door flap or nothing to keep the wind or the snow or anything from the blizzard that we had just had out. It's guessed that he was there for about 12 days with no food or water. It didn't have to happen. Like, he didn't have to die like that. I'd called animal control. Other people had called animal control and nobody came. There was somebody home multiple times. Vehicles were in the driveway. I had sent text messages with picture proof of vehicles being in the driveway. But again, nobody came. Nobody showed back up. I don't know. I guess if it feels like there was just no coordination, there was no communication, there was no urgency to save his life. It was more than a mistake. It was a system failure. And I know this was taken off the agenda, but I feel like there needs to be accountability and there needs to be some change. And I know this seems like it's just one dog, but like, I'm just asking and talking about this because no other animals need to go through this. No other animals need to suffer. And it's not just, like I said, it's not just about Atlas. It's about all the animals in our community. They all depend on people. They all depend on animal control. And it's not just animal control they depend on all of us. All of us. All of you guys. All of us. Everyone. They depend on Luke and you guys and me. You know, they depend on all of us to do something for them. And I guess I'm just asking that we put and apply pressure and consistency in the people that depend on them the way we depend on people to take care of us, you know? So even though it was taken off the agenda, I want to make sure there's still light shown on it, I guess. Because my kids having to watch that dog die and the kids that live in that home having to watch that dog die isn't okay. So I just wanted to say something, I guess.
Thank you.
My name is Tony Deal, and I am here too to talk about the dog in Coville and kind of paint a timeline, just like Cheney did. So on February 18th, there were 3 incoming calls to animal control, a personal animal control's phone. At 5:01 p.m., a call lasting 5 minutes. At 5:20 p.m., a call lasting 20 minutes. At 6:40 p.m., a call lasting 3 minutes, along with 55 text messages and 2 calls to the LEC. On February 20th, there were 21 text messages. On February 27th, 8 text messages. On February 28th, 20 text messages. This communication did not stop. The warnings did not stop. On March 1st at 9 a.m., a call was made to the LEC Communications Center reporting that a dog on Garfield Street had died. On Monday, March 2nd, a necropsy was completed at 10:23 a.m., confirming that the death of a dog was starvation. On Monday, March 2nd at 11:34 a.m., head of animal control finally contacted Miss Grady 13 days later. By then, it was already too late. At 12:30 p.m., Deputy Walters and Animal Control seized the remaining animals, a small dog and a rabbit. It only took 2 hours to save them. Why wasn't Atlas given that same chance? Board of Supervisors, have you looked at the call logs and the text message I have provided you? They show repeated warnings. They show no coordination, no action, and Atlas paid the price. Numerous calls, dozens of messages, repeated warnings. To ensure there was no misunderstanding in Iowa law, I reached out to Preston Moore, Iowa State Director of Human World for Animals, for clarification on Iowa code. He has offered to come to Webster County to provide training. Iowa code provides a baseline for animal control when local and county ordinances fall short. That means there is always a legal framework to act. Under Iowa Code Chapter 717B, animals must be provided with adequate ventilation, shelter, protect them from wind, rain, snow, and sun, including proper bedding to guard against cold and damp conditions. These are not recommended. These are legal requirements meant to protect animals' health and life. Atlas did not have that protection. All he had was a dirt floor and no bedding. Under Iowa code, animals must have access to adequate food, clean water, enough to maintain their basic nutrition and hydration so their health and life are not put at risk. These are not optional standards. These are legal obligations, and they were not met. The necropsy report does not lie. Under Iowa law, law enforcement have the authority to act when there is a cause to believe an animal is in danger after consulting a licensed veterinarian. The authority exists to prevent exactly what happened to Atlas, and it failed him. According to former Webster County Deputy Amy Stringer, when animals were in danger, deputies would consult with veterinaries such as Dr. Jeff Arnold and Dr. Shimkat, often through FaceTime and often after hours. Actions would be taken within hours. That system worked. Animals were helped, lives were saved. Today, those relationships have been broken by the animal control currently in this contract. Bridges have been burnt. Communication has failed, and when that system disappeared, so did the timely action. Atlas needed that system, and without it, he was left to suffer, to die. The safety of our animals begins with you, the Webster County Board of Supervisors. It is your responsibility to oversee animal control and hold them accountable. And when their negligence and poor performance, when reports are made and actions are not taken, the system fails. And when the system fails, animals like Atlas pay the price for their lives. Accountability cannot come after the damage is done. It must be enforced before the animals suffer the same fate. At the January 27th meeting, a motion was made by Supervisor Thode to renew the Webster County Animal Control's contract for only 3 months. It was clearly stated that the Sheriff's Office and the Police Department would like some input on the terms of the contract. And if those issues were not resolved, the contract would be put up for bid. That motion was seconded by Supervisor Cochran and carried unanimously. From February 18th to March 1st, further reports of negligence involving animal control were made. Despite this, no meaningful action was taken. So item 17 was taken off the agenda today. But I'm asking you, the board, to stand by your prior decision. Do not go back on your word for the safety of the well-being of the animals of Webster County. Atlas deserved better, and we as a community deserve better. Thank you.
Anybody else?
So I guess now is when I can step in and say something. You guys are ready for that?
Yeah, just say your name and
Justin Goodnow. I live in Webster County, out in Savage Edition. the fact that this was removed from the agenda today is a mistake. That should not be happening. As Tony said, that this had already been linked to 3 months of waiting for this to be taken care of and looked into. There's absolutely no reason to table this. There's no
Hey,
reason to.
Justin, can I
Yeah.
interrupt? I know you're driving or you're on the road. What was taken off the agenda was a motion to extend the contract of the current animal control officer on a month-to-month basis until open bidding could take place. That's removed. So there's no longer going to be a vote to extend past that 90 days so that we can start the process of open bidding immediately. So I want to make sure. It sounded like you didn't understand what was removed from the agenda.
Okay. So with that being said, I don't know if you want to open answer, but is there a plan for when the position and bidding will be done? Do we have a concrete date?
So we're not gonna be able to make any decisions right now, but I mean, the plan is gonna be just going forward to evaluating the needs and how we're going to work it out. I don't have a hard date now. And we wouldn't be able to decide on a date right now anyway in this portion of our agenda, but we're gonna be looking at what our needs are, how we can make it work. And then we'll get that information out once we kind of put together our needs.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this internally, Justin, and I know you and I and you and some other supervisors have also, I know you've expressed concerns and a group of concerned citizens have expressed concerns, and that started this process. But with the collaboration with the police department, sheriff's department, there have been meetings. There's also an issue of whether it's going to be a combined contract with the city versus being split off, the city doing their own thing and the county doing their own thing. But we are going to try to get that put together as soon as possible and put it out for bid. But again, the thing that was removed from the agenda was extending on a month-to-month basis the contract with current animal control. So that's going to give us even additional incentive to get this on the agenda and get open bidding done as soon as possible.
And through that, I've been in communication also then with Kayla to try to help understand what what the risks were, the questions, comments, and concerns that got brought up. So there've been communications with everybody to help make sure we can come to a resolution with it. But
Well, I think the first thing that needs to happen, which has been delayed over and over again and never done correctly in the first place, and this isn't the council that sits there right now. This is years past. So when animal control shifted from Blaine Hepp to the current animal control situation that is in place right now, there was no contract. There was no way for anyone to look into this and bid it. And again, this is years back, but we're looking at the same thing again. So 3 years ago, or however long exactly that was, we are in the same place right now than we were right then. No one has got a contract. No one has got an animal control officer job duties and responsibilities.
correct.
There is not any type of transparency right now as to what's going on. The
Well,
transparency was
the
that 3 months.
transparency is that right now we don't have a contract with anybody. We'll be putting
Right.
together a package to take bids. First understanding what our needs are, how we need to get those addressed, and then understand going forward. So right now, we don't have a contract with Kayla or anybody else. So that's where we're at. We'd been working to try to resolve this and address the concerns and complaints, and Kayla had worked well with trying to figure that out for us. But right now that where it's at is effectively we don't have an animal control officer. So that's where it's at.
So what we're working towards is getting a date that job will be placed out to bid.
Yes,
And
we're going to have to
announcing that to
understand what our
everyone
needs
involved.
are.
Who is in charge of that? Is that you, Austin?
Well, yeah, we'll be working with all of our partners in this to figure out what our needs are, so. Okay. Megan. You should be you'll have to unmute on your end, but if you state your name and your address, and then we'll be able to, or just your name and then we'll be able to take your comment there. Megan, you'll have to unmute on your end. Okay. Yeah, Megan, I need to put your hand back up there. You'll have to just unmute the mic on your end. All right. So. I don't know what I can't, there's nothing I can do to help her. Okay. Any other comment?
I just want to say to Tony, Justin, I know Amy's on there too. I've been in communication with all you guys throughout this process, taking it incredibly seriously myself, and looked at, the timeline of everything, the text messages, and really examined what we have to do to make sure this system's serving the people and animals well in Webster County. And I believe that's why this board decided today to remove that item from the agenda, open this up to bid, and get it done kind of the proper way, and open up that different channel moving forward so we can better serve the citizens and animals in Webster County. So I appreciate you guys coming up today and staying in contact through all this with me and updating me on everything you guys had on your end. So I appreciate it.
Ford Lillard, I'm service manager with Johnson Controls. So total shift change here from animal control to HVAC. You guys signed the non-renewal notice a few months ago, and I was in talks with Mr. Thode and about getting a scope of work for a new bid. I've made several attempts via email to try and get that said scope of work and have not received anything. So my question is there a scope of work for us to bid against, or are we just going to be bidding on what we have in the past?
So I do know, and this is speculative at this point, that Supervisor Thode is holding a meeting with the maintenance personnel on, I believe it's Thursday. And I do think, having spoken with him, and I don't want to speak for him, that some of that will come up in the meeting. I know that is clear as mud for you, but that's what I can give you.
All right. That's more than I've gotten in the last month, so.
A work in progress in
Okay.
terms of.
Yeah, we've got a lot of subcontractors. It's a large contract, and June is the renewal time, and that is right around the corner. So
I know there was talk too of us holding a workshop to discuss it. So if that does come up, we can reach out to you and invite you into that conversation too, because we're just deciding whether or not it'll be internal, external, what our plan is moving forward. So
okay,
keeping the loop on that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm trying to see if I can get it to work.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay, this is Megan Secor. Hey, hi. I have a few quick things. I'm going to just go back to animal control. One, Austin, I am surprised that you're allowing people to make allegations when the person is not there to defend themselves. And I want to present myself as the landowner where the pound and animal control take place. And Nathan, you're allowing folks to continue to perpetuate these unfounded accusations. I, as the landowner, would not be allowing somebody to rent on my property without the proper um, certifications and licenses. So I guess I just, as a supervisor, both of you, Bob and John, I'll throw you in there too. Should you be pretending that these are founded accusations when they're not? Should you be doing that? When, and regardless, also the other dog that everyone is talking about, this is an ongoing investigation. Am I incorrect on that?
I can speak, Megan. This is Webster County Attorney Darren Driscoll. There was no agenda item specifically to discuss this. This was done in the citizens portion. These are allegations that are being raised by people who have a First Amendment right to present these, and subject to our open meeting rules, which I know you're well aware of. We're not in a position to tell people they can't express their displeasure with the government in an open setting. There's actually some very recent issues in the news about that in the state of Iowa. So I don't think any of us are endorsing necessarily what these folks have to say, but at the same time, we are an open government entity. And in the open portion on the agenda for people to express displeasure with their government, they're more than welcome to do so.
Right. Yeah. And I understand that. And that's perfect. Fine. It just feels like maybe probably we didn't need to continue it going on because right now, as it stands, me as the landowner, I feel like I am being looked upon as allowing something illegal to occur on my property when that couldn't be further from the truth. So I guess I'm a little curious what is all going on there because it feels a little bit like a circus. Not gonna lie. Nathan, I don't know why you're pretending like it's this is a cut and dry, like I've been looking into this seriously when like you could ask your animal control officer for the information. Have any of you done that?
Yeah, Kayla did send us a message on the rebuttal to the letter we received. And like I said, I just thank them for keeping me in the loop, giving them whatever facts and data they had behind them or information, and took that into consideration. You have to weigh both sides. I've tried to do that fairly in this situation and listen to both sides, hear the both concerns, and hear their information. So I've tried to do that throughout this situation.
Right. And so you've gotten both sides then.
That is
in
correct.
In your stances.
My stance is we examined it. We looked at what was the flaws in the situation. Obviously, Kayla in the letter, detailed her side of it. And then we decide today, our decision was to remove this from the agenda and open this up to bid.
Okay. Well, since this is our open time, I would like to express my disappointment in all of you. This was all handled very poorly for the last 6 months. And honestly, I don't really want to agree with Justin, but he's right. This continuing it for month to month, like get it together. This has gotten a little disorganized. And I don't know why anybody would want to contract with the county when it's been so disorganized. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Hearing no other comments. Up next would be the Board of Supervisors committee reports.
We had the North Central Iowa landfill meeting out for the dump. We have finally approved the increase in tonnage that I've been telling you about for, gosh, I want to say 2-3 months now that was going to come down the pipelines. It has now come down the pipelines. And then I've got Webster County Crime Stoppers coming up.
Nothing to report today for me.
I just was going to report it. We had a As you guys know, I was not here last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess. I was in Washington, D.C., being able to advocate with our Growth Alliance community partners in the city to really help highlight the amazing work that's going on in development and the opportunities we have here in Webster County with our legislators. By and far, that was probably, I think, one of the best meetings. Now, granted, I have a short window. Last year was my first year going. But this year, we had a really great opportunity to meet with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and meet with some of the other agencies to get some updates on legislative priorities and where people are at, and then how we can help advocate for our community here. It was very, very productive. I'm grateful to the folks that came that helped put this together. I thought we had some very fruitful conversations out of that to really highlight what Webster County has to offer. So that is the only other thing that I had to update for today. So up next on the agenda is to allow claims.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second on the claims. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, I would seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.